intuition is very important for us to be able to succeed, to live life of purpose and passion, and also to have hope based on something real.
Welcome to the Believe the Hope podcast. I am here with Katya Dmitrieva. I think I said that pretty good. I try to get that accent correct for her. If you don't know Katya is an intuitive life coach and founder of the Intuitive Life Coaching Academy, LCAT. She is an ICF professional certified coach with 13 years of experience, having helped over 1,000 clients from entrepreneurs to doctors. In 2020, in a meetup, she created the ICF accredited program, and they're currently accepting their applications for their 11th group, set to launch in November of 2024. Katya is passionate about working with people driven by more than just financial gain. At LCAT, she teaches coaches to learn to be holistic, authentic entrepreneurs rather than the mere service providers. Katya's life and work revolved around transforming challenges into opportunities, intuition into action, and dreams into reality. So thank you, Katya, for being on.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah. So Katya was my intuitive life coach. So I actually have my LCAT intuitive life coaching certification, which was one of the spawns for this podcast and how I would want to necessarily do my coaching. I feel like I can do more doing this podcast and talking to people like you and other entrepreneurs and just people of every walks of life and talk about hope and positivity. So thank you, Katya, for helping not only teach me, being on this podcast and helping more people grow.
Thank you so much. And I'm excited about your podcast and how many people you will be able to reach out and coach and provide support with this podcast. That's amazing.
So the first question I ask everybody, because everyone has a little bit different answer to this, is what does hope mean to you personally?
That's a great question. May I expand on it a little bit by saying that for me, I like to use hope in combination with faith, intuition, conviction, and trust. So by itself, hope, to my experience and the way I see it, can be a little bit too passive and uncertain. So I'm striving for a good balance of hope and reality.
Yeah.
So to say. For me, when it's just hope, it can be very deceiving and it can be very frustrating. You can sit there and hope for something and not take an action, not do anything, not have faith, and then you will just, oops, it never happened. So I think in combination with all the things that I just mentioned, hope can be for me, is a very powerful thing.
How does one use their intuition to help, I guess, not just have the hope of just sitting around and kind of wishing for things to happen? How does one use their intuition and trust and that faith to develop that skill to not only have the hope, but also utilize it for future?
Yeah. I think intuition is very important for us to be able to succeed, to live life of purpose and passion, and also to have hope based on something real. Intuition is your connection. At the end of the day, intuition is your connection with yourself, with your authentic self. If you can trust yourself, you can trust your intuition. If there is big disconnect between you and your authentic self, then even if you have a good intuitive abilities, you will not be listening to it. You will not be taking intuition seriously, and it will not be of great use. So basically, intuition is your strong connection with your higher self, with your authentic self, knowing who you are, what you're all about, kind of like going deep with yourself, understanding your values, understanding your desires, understanding your life purpose. That's how you are able to tap into your intuition, to be able to hear your own voice, to hear and take action on that. So, and yeah, so like hoping that you can do things without actually having to take an action, having faith in yourself, in your intuition, in what you're doing is important for people, will be wonderful, will help you.
Is intuition, for some people that may not even have tapped into it at all many times, is that gut feeling you feel when something happens and you have that initial gut feeling that this is the decision I should make, but then you kind of question, why am I feeling this, or this is something else?
Great question. I actually was just writing a post about that, about the intuitive calling card, the calling card of your intuition. So we very generalize when we say gut feeling, because every person has their unique way of how intuition shows up in their body, in their energy field. So gut feeling is very generalized. For some people, it's a gut feeling. For some people, it's expansion in their heart. For some people, it's pressure in their head. So it can be very differently. But our intuition is very much connected with our body, and it shows in our body. It's just we need to know what is your unique intuitive calling card. And so I'm inviting us to stay away from calling it a gut feeling, because it may very well be not a gut feeling.
Yeah.
It can be, but that's why it's very important to learn how to tap into your intuitive calling card, so you can differentiate your intuition from wishful thinking, from fear, from other things that are not intuition.
Yeah, and that would definitely make you more connected and trust yourself when you're making these decisions, because they're not just fleeting feelings. Or I feel like we react when we think of things or see things. We tend to go by reaction versus thought and intuition a lot of times, where we take a step back and actually think about before we say something or do something. Where I think you see that a lot on just even social media, where people react on a visceral response, necessarily, but good or bad, but just on an emotion versus that intuition or that connection with them themselves.
Absolutely. You mentioned emotion. Very often, our emotional response is not intuition. Our emotional response very often is connected with like circumstances of your life, or what is happening, what you're experiencing, what are your, and not necessarily your intuition. Intuition can come through as like a all of a sudden knowing of something that you may or may not even were thinking about. So yeah, connecting, checking in, like, is it like an emotional response to what is happening in my life, or it's my intuition?
I like our guests to share experiences if they can, to help people maybe in their shoes of when they had to use their intuition, their hope, to really get them out of a, I would say dark place, but just a lower place where they felt like they needed to really rely on hope or that intuition to bring them out of that. Would you have an experience that you can share with us?
Yeah, and I can give you an interesting experience that will show you how, like, if you just base everything on hope without anything else, it can lead you a wrong direction. And then when you really open yourself up to reality and intuition, things may change. So we were in a situation for some time in my life when my husband was trying to make it in the business world, and it was going well at the beginning, and then he lost major contracts, and then we were like, no, we need to persevere. Let's have hope that things will turn around. So we were having hopes that things will turn around, but kind of just that's all we had. And it didn't go the way we expected or we hoped for. So then we really had to just turn around and say, okay, we need to stop hoping, we need to stop waiting, right? When hope is connected with passive wait, then it's a dangerous path to take. When hope is connected with something productive, with taking an action, with trust, with intuition, conviction, with hard work,
Mm-hmm.
then hope can be very helpful. So we had to turn around the situation when it was really difficult situation. Got ourselves into by just hoping. And then like my intuition was very loud for some time. I had those red flags which I didn't listen to. I didn't listen to my intuition that was very loud and clear. Stop waiting. You have to take the action. And we didn't for some times. Then it was very hard to actually stop and say, okay, we need to change the trajectory of our life and listen to our intuition and look at the reality of what's really happening. Because a lot of people who just base their life on hope, they are in somewhat like denial, right? Like it's hard for them to see the real situation. It's hard for them to connect with reality or listen to their gut feeling or wherever your intuition resides. So I'm really encouraging everyone to have faith, hope, to really believe in yourself, believe in that if you put effort, things will turn around one day with perseverance, hard work, and faith and hope. You will be able to reach great results and be successful. But it's a process, and it's not just waiting, or it's not like law of attraction, right? Visualize, just see it, and then it will happen. No, it doesn't happen that way.
And I find that when you're just, I guess you're, like you said, that law of attraction or that passively waiting, that's the answer we want, not the answer the universe or God's giving us. And the bad situation we're in is going to be better, but we have to go through the really hard stuff that is going to prepare us for that next better outcome with hope and that action and that intuition that you're feeling and that we often ignore because that's uncomfortable in most cases. And we know there's going to be a lot of hard work. That's the actual right answer that's poking at us. The universe is telling us that we need to go this route. And usually that passive or that waiting, like you said, is or what we're relying on our own emotion or knowledge or what we want to do versus what the right, quote unquote, right thing to do or the better outcome is going to happen.
Yes, absolutely. And I think it's in human nature for us to like, oh, I hope it will all be okay. Like we even have the saying, oh, it will all be okay. Like we hope for something to happen automatically or by itself, or because we have beautiful eyes, or because the sun is shining brightly. So, and this is I think part of being human, and it comes with a basic package of being human, right? Like to hope for something, to wait, to not do anything, to do less, And then because what we also see in the mm, business world, a lot of coaches or a lot of successful business owners, what they present to the audience, oh, I was just able to do this small thing, and then all of a sudden it's a lot. And then people are like, oh, let me do it. Like they're saying I can do less, but it's a marketing trick, right? Like they just want to sign up for their program or whatever, that you don't have to. And it's our nature to like, let me go for what's easier. Let me go for something where I don't have to work hard or do something outside of the comfort zone. So I think hope is also very much can be connected with comfort zone.
I can see that, definitely. And it's funny because I always kind of joke in the healthcare space. It's all the biohacking that everybody wants to do, but I'm like, you can't biohack to make yourself healthier if you're not sleeping properly, if you're not eating properly, like you're not working out multiple times and moving your body multiple times a week. You're not doing the foundation stuff for the last 5-10 years, the rest of your life. Like you can jump in a sauna and a cold bath all you want. It's not the same as if you have to have a foundation. And I think that gets, whether it's business or the healthcare space of this, everybody wants to hack, but no one wants to do the groundwork of the 20 years or all the foundational work that has to be day in and day out for you to be able to hack your way to the next level, or the tweak something to go to the next level. They don't tell you that, oh, I spent 20 years doing this and then I made this one tweak because at the timing and everything I built up to that last 20 years, then that made it work. Oh, yeah, and that can be frustrating at times too, because you're doing all this work and you're like, when's the breakthrough going to happen? And you're hoping for the breakthrough to happen, but you just got to, if you're doing the work, you're doing it properly, you're doing it with purpose and conviction, it will happen. And it can be a small tweak, but you got to lay that groundwork and not get caught up in the shortcut or the hack type of thing.
Yes, absolutely. Or like just hoping, because then this hoping will easily move into hopeless situation, right? Like hoping, then nothing, you won't see the results, what they promised in 3 seconds, and then you will be hopeless. So I think it's more about having faith in yourself, in your purpose, knowing what, like, if what you want to do is just to make money, I'm sorry guys, but like, even very successful people who are driven by making money, at the end of the day they are not very happy, because like, okay, I was able to reach that, what's next, it's never enjoying, right, your life. It's never enjoying the journey. So I think it's important to connect, to be in alignment with your purpose, like why you are doing what you're doing. Why do you want to be successful? Why do you have faith? Why do you have hope? Like why?
Yeah. How does one, for our listeners, how would you say they bring the proper type of hope more to their community and their environment on a regular basis?
Yeah. Proper type of hope is, I think the proper type of hope is bigger than like hoping for something small, like hope for humanity, hope for like us to wake up from like horrible things that are happening in the world, right? So I think that if it's just like if it's bigger, than just us and us, oh, I hope I will I will make $100 this week, right? If hope is based on um, like something big that can really benefit the world, I think then it's a beautiful thing. And because hopeless, when we lose hope, then we get into a depressed state. When we get into a depressed state, then we can bring our gifts and talents to the world. Then like we yeah. So I think hope for the humanity, hope for people to find peace, to find good things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's something bigger than yourself, or you're a conduit to
Mhm.
something bigger than yourself. You're serving
Mhm.
whatever you're doing and bringing to the world. You're bringing of service to have more positivity, or bringing hope and inspiration, or a larger purpose, because you're not just doing it just to do it like an act. You're bringing more of that through you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because hope can be very like submissive and very like a begging situation, right? You want to be in a place of conviction and power, good power. I'm not talking power that takes advantage of other people, but I mean power where you confident, when you are taking great action, when you're persevering even through failures, mistakes, and not good enough.
What do you, when you're coaching with clients, or even students that are struggling with hope, they're struggling maybe with their intuition, are you doing something specific with them? Or are you giving them techniques, or what are you telling them or helping them work through to build that hope and to build that intuition to get back on track?
The most important thing to bring hope and intuition back to people is being able to put the right mirror in front of them, so that they can see their own greatness. Because people live in doubt, people live in self, they are not happy with themselves. They're the worst enemies, right? They are so self-critical. And being able to show them the truth, however the truth is, the places where you need to work on something, and also the places where you are amazing. And I think that's what we do as intuitive life coaches. We are able to put that mirror in front of the person, so that they can see themselves with hope and truth. Because people live in their minds in scarcity mentality, in poverty mentality, in mentality of that everything is wrong with them, in the mentality of comparing them with everybody else. And it's a very lonely place. It's a very sad place, and we want to bring them out of that cage of their own gremlins and limiting beliefs, and see the light, the beauty, the hope, the gifts and talents that they have.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I think those are the stories that we built over time that aren't necessarily true, but they're the stories we've told ourselves, or someone's told us, and we've taken them on as truth. And the reality is, most situations only have a certain amount of truth, but our brains are really good at filling in whatever truth that we perceive based on experience, emotion, trauma. There can be all kinds of things that built into that.
Mm-hmm. And then we live by these stories. Then the stories, because we think we live in our apartments, houses. No, we live here.
Mm-hmm.
And then we accept this story as the truth, and then we live in that story, like in the Matrix, right? And yeah, like I have this funny story I share about my limiting belief story, that I created for myself like 100 years ago when Titanic came to big screen, literally 100 years ago. I was in college still, and I went to watch it, and my God, like, it really influenced me so much. So I created that story of Leonardo DiCaprio drowning. And what happened after? Like, it took me 2 weeks of my precious life. Like, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, I couldn't function. I was taken away by this story so much that this story became my life for 2 weeks, while Leonardo DiCaprio, I think, had a good time. He was a superstar, getting millions of dollars, supermodels and everything, like, you can name it. But I lived by my story, that struggled and suffered for 2 weeks instead. So that's how we, like, it's a good example how we create stories, and then we live by that story, unless there is a proof of that story to be true, right? Like, it's very important to learn how to let go of those story we create, and having this miserable experiences.
Is there anything else on hope that you'd like to personally add that we haven't discussed right now?
I think, like, one of our teachers in the program, she recently mentioned that, like, hope was a very difficult thing for her, that she was, especially with all the wars that are happening right now and everything, like, she is losing hope. And I asked her, like, what you're losing hope for, right? When people say, I'm just losing hope, like, hope for what? Hope for humanity, hope for that human life matters. And, I said, what do you need? What do you need to get back on track with hope, right? Like, with having hope, because without hope, hopelessness is the worst thing. Hopelessness is this is the place of depression, this is the place of anxiety, this is the place where sometimes people take even a next step, right? And, like, exit their lives or do something horrible. And so and I asked, what do you need to bring the hope back into your existence? And I think that is powerful. She said that we keep having these conversations, that we, instead of suffering and struggling on your own somewhere in the corner, right? We bring these conversations. I think hope will come back to us when we open our narrow mindedness and our political correctness and kick it to the curb, like some countries do, right? Like, that, what really start to have the freedom of speech, where it's not just like, oh, freedom of speech, but you can't talk about this,
Mm-hmm.
and this. So I think it's freedom of speech. I think it's us getting together. I think your podcast, bringing guests to talk about that, so that people can feel that they are not alone. They lose help when they feel alone, when they have nowhere to go, when they feel that it's only them who experiencing that. So we have to have this community is important. Connections are important. Knowing where to go to talk, that people will listen to you, right? Intuitive listening. Not listen so that they can respond, but listen to you and respect, and try to respect everything you are saying. So
Yeah, I hope that that's the reason why I started this podcast, because the more we get this out there, the more people we talk to, the more people that can listen to it, because they may not have a community, or they may be transitioning out of a community to build themselves up more hope, and trying to find others that they can find this podcast and offer that to them, and some of the other guests that they can lean on some of the other guests to dive into, build hope that way as well, so they have that in their ear on a consistent basis.
100%. And I'm very curious. How do you see hope? What is hope for you?
I've said this before on some of the other episodes. Hope for me is it gives people permission to step into something better for themselves. It gives them permission to see the future, that there is something better for them. Especially for me, I've noticed a lot of times where I lacked hope is I wasn't listening to my intuition, or that gut feeling, so to speak. I know that we don't want to say necessarily gut feeling, but that feeling that I was saying I wasn't good enough, or I'm not the right person, or I'm not qualified, or, every excuse that we always come up for the imposter syndrome. Having the hope, I think, gives you that purpose. It gives you that faith to step into something better, to pull you out of something that you feel that you're driven to. And that can be a variety of things. It can be small, it can be large, it can be, this podcast was a little bit of that, where for a while I wanted to do it, but had all the excuses in my head, and then I just I have to step into this and have the hope and faith that I gave myself the permission of hope that everything's going to work out and it's going to be super successful and help a lot of people and all that stuff. So that's my definition of hope, is that it gives people permission to step into something better, and hope, and better into their future.
Because what I'm hearing from you is I would see it as a vision.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have a vision and audacity.
Yeah. That's a good way to describe it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. How can people connect with you more to either build more hope, or even learn how to be more intuitive and coach people to have more hope, if they're maybe feeling like they're called to do that?
So many ways to connect with me. So, people can email me at Katya, Katya, @alkate.com. You can find me through the website of Intuitive Life Coaching Academy. You can find me through Facebook. I think I'm everywhere.
Okay, good. I'll link everything in the show notes of where they can find you as well.
And we would like to invite everyone who is curious about their intuition and how they can use intuition for their business and life. We're offering 3-day free workshop starting September 17th, where we will dive deep into intuition, into their unique intuitive calling card, identify it, and you see how you can use intuition as a secret weapon for your success and purpose in life. So I also shared with you the link, so you are welcome to share it with people. It would be wonderful to see you guys at this class.
Perfect. I will definitely share all those things. And thank you, Katya, for your insights, your expertise. Always, like I said, this gives me, every time I do an interview, it always just gives more hope and positivity in my day. Absolutely. So this is always fun for me, and I learn a lot from everybody that I speak to. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, and it was good to see you.
And we should be proud of ourselves, right?
Wait.
You have the, this is a little joke between Katya and I. So they have there you go.
I have one that says that you should feel proud of yourself. This one, the old one. And after I called them, they changed it, and now it says earning an ICF credential is a tremendous milestone in your career as a professional coach. So, so it's nice, and they're wishing us continued success. So
good.
That's how we do.
Good. That's just a little joke between Katya and I.
Yeah, it's internal joke.
Yes. Anyway, Thank you so much for being on. And until next time, we'll bring you another episode of the Believe the Hope podcast. Bye.
Thank you.